I'm Cecilia.
I'm Annie from Cotter Team Press, and we're here today with
Gaelynn Lea.
So good to see you again, Gaelynn.
Thanks for chatting again.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So we talked to you 2 years ago, and we were just wondering what's been going on with you in the music industry since we last talked to you.
Well, it's kind of like a progression from where we were before. So we are still touring a lot and doing speaking, but we have gone more places since then. I think we've been to 42 states, and we've probably done 250 shows since. We've been doing a lot of shows. And then a couple really fun things have happened. I've played in England twice and Ireland, and then I opened for the Decemberists, so just some really fun shows that I wasn't planning on doing. And I'm recording and about to release, I'm done recording and I'm working on getting it ready to go. I'm releasing an album in September, and that is with a full band. So that's probably the biggest change, is I've started playing with a full band more often. I wrote some songs that I can't do with my looping pedal by myself, so I had to get some help to be able to play them out in public. So they're playing with me tonight in Winona for the Midwest Music Fest kickoff show. So it's kind of a little bit of a progression. I still play solo a lot, but the album's going to be kind of a different chapter, probably. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you think that when you release the album, are you going to go on tour again and possibly even bigger this time, or can you say?
Well, it's kind of hard to know how everything will go down. I'm still booking that tour when the album comes out. My really big goal would be to bring at least a guitar player and maybe a drummer with me on the road, because it would be really fun to play the whole album at those shows. But it kind of, when you're at this stage where you're still kind of, making ends meet and working everything out, I don't know for sure what the budget will look like, but I'm hoping. And we've had some really fun opportunities, like this show, for example. We've had some fun chances to play on bigger stages as a band, so that's cool. So I'm sure we'll do some at least regional touring. It'd be really neat to bring them all the way out to New York or Seattle, that.
Yeah.
That. But we'll see what happens. Awesome. Yeah.
Can you tell us about a book or movie that really impacted your life or affected it?
Yeah. Let me think. That's such a different vein. I'm switching gears. I'm trying to think. I think some of the best books that I've read are books about self-improvement stuff. Right now, actually, might be one of the better books. I'm reading a book called The Slight Edge, and it's not really what it sounds like. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, if you do this, your whole life will change in 20 days or whatever," right? And that's not usually how it ends up going down. Usually people end up not seeing the results that they want. And so this book is talking about how life is really about reaching your goals, is really about taking little steps every single day, even if you don't see an improvement, because sometimes it takes a while for change to set in. And I think it's really helpful, especially in a music career, because, you don't always know, some shows will be awesome, and then some shows there'll be 12 people, and they're still really fun to play, but you're not sure, but you just got to keep taking the action every day and assuming it'll change eventually, and I think usually it does. So I guess that book has been pretty influential lately, especially thinking about the years ahead.
So you're talking about how you got to work really hard to be able to continue to achieve your dreams and make a living on what you love. Can you give some advice about how to keep up being able to have all this positivity that you do have and still be able to work hard, to our some advice that you can give to our students?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with perspective. So I try to remind myself that even in the days where things are kind of hard or difficult, that what we're doing is really cool. I'm really lucky to be able to do what we're doing. And so and even if you're playing little tiny shows at coffee shops, there are people that really wish they could do it and they just don't follow through. They get too scared, and it's a really big honor to do that. So I think it's trying to maintain a positive view by just being grateful for where you're at in the present moment is a good way to have perspective about the bigger picture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I really try to do that because so every phase that you're in has its own positives and its own negatives, right? So, like, when you're doing little tiny shows, it might feel like the positives are that you get to talk to people one-on-one and you get to know people, and then the negatives are like it might be stressful financially or whatever, right? But then all of a sudden you're like this huge band or something, right? But you don't get to talk to people one-on-one, so there's like positives and negatives to everything. So like just being cool with where you are right then is a really good way to like enjoy your whole life regardless of where you are. Yeah.
Thank you.
You live in Duluth. How does that affect your music?
Well, it's really cold there, and it's cold there for a long time. And I do think that like being inside and like and being around so much natural beauty. I mean, Winona's really pretty too, which maybe is why you guys appreciate music so much too. But I think being around natural beauty kind of sparks their creativity. And then something special about Duluth is just that for some reason people are really interested in collaborating with each other, like sitting in on each other's sets or forming bands or recording on each other's albums. And I think that happens in a lot of places, but in Duluth, like from what I understand, it's just like kind of amplified for some reason. And I don't know if I can give you a real answer to why that is. Maybe because Alan Sparhawk and Charlie Parr, who are kind of like the godfathers, I think, of music up there, are both really collaborative people and really want to see other people do well. So it kind of fosters this spirit of like helping each other out. And I don't know. So I think that influences my music just because I always want to like collaborate with other people, and I think that helps you grow as a musician too.
So how do you connect and collaborate with other musicians? Like how do you do that?
Well, like a lot of it is just about trying it out for fun first, right? So I met this guy. Well, I knew this guy, Al Church, who is on the album. I've known him for years because we went to high school together, but one day we happened to be playing a show at the same venue. He was before me, and I was playing right after him, and I was like, hey, you should just sit in on a couple songs for fun, because he likes to improvise. And it was so fun that we're like, hey, you should record on my next album, and we've been playing together for 2 years now. So I think that's kind of like how it starts, is just kind of like trying it out and seeing if it's fun for both people, and if it is, then just like doing it as long as it's fun, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So, if you don't mind sharing with us, what are some hopes, dreams, or goals that you still want to accomplish in your lifetime?
That's a good question. I would really, really like to write a book about disability issues, like disability rights, and kind of my own experience with disability to give it like a more personal feel, because I think it's something that we don't talk about a whole lot in society, and there's still a ton of negative belief or like negative views on disability, and I don't think it needs to be that way. So I'd like to do that for sure. And as I said, I'd really like to tour with a full band someday, but we'll just see. Like, I don't want to like bank on it and then be mad if it doesn't happen. So just trying to hold that one lightly. And then I would really like to just keep doing what we're doing. I really enjoy it. Maybe be home a little bit more. We're not home a ton, but yeah, I think the book is maybe the next like thing I really want to try to focus on, because I think you can do speaking engagements, but it's harder to reach like a lot of people. So I think a book is a cool way to reach a wider audience. Yeah.
So are you going to see any other musicians this week at the festival?
I wish. It's Homegrown Music Fest this week. So unfortunately, we won't be here because I'm playing on Saturday in Duluth for a mental health awareness concert, and then Sunday Homegrown starts. And I thought about staying tomorrow, but we really aren't home very much, and we finally have a little window to be back in Duluth, and I really want to go home. We don't see our dog, like, ever. She lives with my mom and my dad, so when we're not home. So we're not staying, and I'm really bummed because I looked at the lineup, and it's really cool this year. So next year, maybe I'll try to reserve a bigger chunk to stay. I'm excited to see the Pines tonight, though. I've only seen them live once, so I know they're really good.
So do you recommend anybody to watch here?
Well, Charlie's playing, right? Isn't he? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't he? Yeah. I thought I saw his name on there. And I don't have the list memorized off the top of my head, but I recognized, like, a really good chunk of the bands. And Charlie Parr is probably my favorite Duluth musician. I mean, I love Alan Sparhawk, but I didn't listen to him as long. Like, started playing with him when I met him. But Charlie Parr, I followed, like, since the very end of high school. I've been following him, so I always recommend him. But most people in Winona know about him, I think. Seems like he's a liked character around here. Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's all the questions we have for you today. So thank you so much for meeting with us today, and good luck with your show tonight.
Yeah, thank you
And
for
yeah,
having me. Yeah,
thank you so
nice
much.
to talk to you again.
Awesome to see you.
Awesome to see you, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.